That morning Jack telephoned home 2 or 3 times to find out how the chick was and if it ate. He rushed home at lunchtime. In the evening, everyone came round to peep at the nestling and offer advice. Charlie was there. "It ought to be fed every hour, at least," said he. "That's how it is in nature." "He's right," said Jack. "For the first month, at least, that's how it should be." "It looks as if I'm going to be tied down a bit," said Edna ruefully. "I'll look in when I pass and relieve your solitude," said Charlie. "I'll manage to rush home now and then in the afternoons," said Jack, a little too thoughtfully. Certainly the hourly feeding seemed to agree with the chick, which grew at an almost alarming speed. It became covered with down, feathers sprouted. In a few months it was fully grown and not in the least like its mother. For one thing, it was coal black. "It must be a hybrid," said Jack. "There is a black parrot. I've seen them in zoos. They didn't look much like this, though. I've half a mind to send a photograph of him somewhere." "He looks so wicked," said Edna. "He looks cunning," said Jack. "That bird knows everything, believe me. I bet he'll talk soon." "It gave a sort of laugh," said Edna. "I forgot to tell you." "When?" cried Jack. "A laugh?" "Sort of," said Edna, "but it was horrible. It made Charlie nearly jump out of his skin." "Charlie?" cried Jack. "You didn't say he'd been here." "Well, you know how often he drops in," said Edna. "Do I?" said Jack. "I hope I do." "God, what was that?" "That's what I meant," said Edna. "A sort of laugh." "What a horrible sound," said Jack. "Listen, Jack," said Edna. "I wish you wouldn't be silly about Charlie. You are, you know." Jack looked at her. "I know I am," said he. "I know it when I look at you, and then I think I never will be again, but somehow it's just got stuck in my mind, and the least little thing brings it out. Maybe I'm just a bit crazy on that one subject." "Well, he'll be transferred soon," said Edna, "and that'll be the end of it." "Where did you hear that?" said Jack. "He told me this afternoon," said Edna. "He was on his way back from getting the mail when he dropped in. That's why he told me first. Otherwise, he'd have told you first, only he hadn't seen you yet. Do you see?" "Yes, I see," said Jack. "I wish I could be psychoanalyzed or something." Soon Charlie made his farewells and departed for his job on the company's other project. Edna was secretly glad to see him go. She wanted no problems, however groundless, to exist between herself and Jack. A few days later, she felt sure that all the problems were solved forever. "Jack," said she when he came home in the evening. "Yes," said he. "Something new," said she. "Don't play with that bird. Listen to me." "Call him Polly," said Jack. They had named it Polly to be on the safe side. "You don't want to call him that bird. The missus doesn't love you, Paul." "You know I don't," said Edna with quite startling vehemence. "I don't like him at all, Jack. Let's give him away." "What? For heaven's sake!" cried Jack. "This rare, black, specially hatched Paul, this parrot of romantic origin, the cleverest Paul that ever—" "That's it," said Edna. "He's too darn clever, Jack. I hate him. He's horrible." "What? Has he said something you don't like?" said Jack, laughing. "I bet he will when he talks. But what's the news, anyway?" "Come inside," said Edna. "I'm not going to tell you with that creature listening." She led the way into the bedroom. "The news is," said she, "that I've got to be humored. And if I don't like anything, it's got to be given away. It's not going to be born with a beak because its mother was frightened by a hateful monstrosity of a parrot." "What?" said Jack. "That's what," said Edna, smiling and nodding. "A brat!" cried Jack in delight. "A boy! Or a girl! It's bound to be one or the other. Listen, I was afraid to tell you how much I wanted one, Edna. Oh, boy! This is going to make everything very, very fine. Lie down, you're delicate. Put your feet up. I'm going to fix dinner. This is practice. Stay still. Oh, boy! Oh, boy!" Or girl, as the case may be. He went out through the living room on his way to the kitchen. As he passed the window, he caught sight of the parrot on the dark porch outside. and he put his head through to speak to it. "Have you heard the news?" said he. "Behold a father. You're going to be cut right out, my bird. You're going to be given away." "Yes, sir, it's a baby." The parrot gave a long, low whistle. "You don't say so," said he in a heavy voice, a voice of apprehension, a quite astonishing imitation of Charlie's voice. "What about Jack?" "What's that?" said Jack, startled. "He'll think it's his," whispered the parrot in Edna's voice. "He's fool enough for anything. Kiss me, darling." "If you don't say so. What about Jack?" "He'll think it's his. He's fool enough for anything. Kiss me, darling." Jack went out into the kitchen and sat down with his head in his hands for several minutes. "Hurry up," cried Edna from the bedroom. "Hurry up, father." "I'm coming," said Jack. He went to his desk and took out the revolver. Then he went into the bedroom. At the sound of the cry and the shot, the parrot laughed. Then, lifting its claw, it took the chain in its beak and bit through it as if it were paper. Jack came out, holding the gun, his hand over his eyes. "Fool enough for anything," said the parrot, and laughed. Jack turned the gun on himself. As he did so, in the infinitesimal interval between the beginning and the end of the movement of his finger on the trigger, he saw the bird grow, spread its dark wings, and its eyes flamed, and it changed, and it launched itself toward him. The gun went off. Jack dropped to the floor. The parrot, or whatever it was, sailing down, seized what came out of his ruined mouth, and wheeled back through the window, and was soon far away, visible for a moment only, as it swept on broader wings past the new arisen moon. Wow, it's a rough one. Happy Halloween, everyone. It's about a month late, but I hope you enjoyed.